The documentaries, fictional stories, and poems on this channel contain mature themes including psychological horror, violence, death, self-harm, mental health crises, and other disturbing subject matter. If you're sensitive to dark content, this may not be for you. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to the shadows, mortal. I am the Howlerist. Tonight, we follow a man who thought he'd found true love in 4 short days. But some meetings are designed to devour you. Some attractions are designed to drain you dry. And some invitations should never be accepted. If you crave the darkness, subscribe and join the pack. Now, let me tell you about a love that only death could satisfy. 4 days to forever. The hotel bar was too quiet for a Friday night. Flynn shifted his recorder between his hands, checking the levels for the 3rd time. She was late, but her publicist had warned him. Vivienne Marchant kept her own schedule. When she finally arrived, the bartender stopped mid-pour. She wore black, simple, but it moved like water. Her hair was dark enough to swallow light. Flynn stood, nearly knocking over his drink. Flynn Lewis? Her voice had an accent he couldn't place. She didn't smile. Rehearsal ran long. Her handshake was cool, firm. She slid into the booth across from him with a grace that made him suddenly aware of every awkward angle of his own body. "Thanks for making time." He fumbled with his notes. "So you're in town through Thursday? Big show at the Indigo?" 4 days. She tilted her head, studying him. "Then we move on. Always moving." She ordered wine. Red, very dark. When the waiter asked if Flynn wanted anything, Vivienne touched his wrist, just a brush of fingers. "Get something you'll enjoy. We have all night." The interview was supposed to last an hour. At midnight, they were still talking. At 2, the bartender was wiping down tables around them, shooting pointed looks. Vivienne never touched her wine after the first sip, but she kept ordering more, kept their table occupied. "Tell me about you," she said, leaning forward. "What drives a man to ask questions for a living?" Flynn laughed, self-conscious. "Not much to tell. I like stories. People's stories." "Everyone has a story worth telling." Her fingers traced the rim of her glass, some longer than others. At 4, she stood. "Walk me to my room." The elevator hummed between floors. She stood close enough that he could smell her perfume, something dark, almost metallic, underneath the flowers. At her door, she touched his cheek. "Tomorrow night, come to rehearsal. I'll leave your name with security." He floated home, crawling into bed just as sunlight bled through the blinds. Day 2. Flynn's phone buzzed somewhere in the sheets. He grabbed it, squinted at the screen. 6:27 p.m. Shit. Rehearsal was at 8. He had 90 minutes to shower, eat something, get across town to the Indigo. He barely tasted the leftover pizza he shoved down while getting dressed. His editor had texted twice, asking for the interview draft. Flynn typed back, "Need another day. Getting more material tonight." The stage door was down an alley behind the theater. A security guard with a clipboard looked him up and down. "Flynn Lewis. Ms. Marchant left my name?" The guard's expression shifted, not quite recognition, more like resignation. He stepped aside. Down the hall, through the black curtain. "Don't touch anything." The facility was bigger than Flynn expected. Empty seats stretched up into darkness. On stage, a single spotlight pooled around Vivienne. She was singing something dark, and he was utterly captivated. Her haunting, warm voice filled the empty theater like it was a living thing, resonant and cold and impossibly controlled. No microphone, no accompaniment, just her voice reaching into every corner of the vast space. Flynn stood in the wings, afraid to move, afraid to breathe and break whatever spell she was weaving. When the last note faded, she turned toward him like she'd known he was there the whole time. "You're early." She stepped out of the spotlight. "I like that." A stagehand appeared from nowhere with a bottle of water. Vivienne waved it away without looking. "How long have you been entertaining?" Flynn fumbled his recorder out, trying to seem professional. "A very long time." She walked to the edge of the stage, sat with her legs dangling over, gestured for him to join her. "Come, sit with me." The stage felt higher up close. Flynn's feet didn't quite reach the floor of the orchestra pit below. Vivienne's did. She was taller than he'd realized, or maybe it was the heels. "You slept all day," she said. Yeah, stayed up too late." "Good." She smiled for the first time since he'd met her. "Tonight we have less time. Dinner?" Flynn's stomach growled on cue, embarrassingly loud in the quiet theater. "I could eat. I know a place, not far from here." She slid off the stage in one fluid movement, landed without a sound. The restaurant was the kind of place Flynn would never have found on his own. No sign, just a red door and a brick wall. Inside, it was all dark wood and darker corners, candles on every table. The host greeted Vivienne by name, led them to a booth in the back. She ordered wine again. Flynn ordered without really looking at the menu. "Tell me," Vivienne said, watching him over the rim of her glass. "What do you want, Flynn? Really want? Not the interview, not the story. You." The question caught him off guard. I don't know. To be good at what I do, I guess. To write something that matters." Such small ambitions. Her fingers drummed against the table. You could have so much more. The waiter brought Flynn's food. Vivienne's wine sat untouched, like last night. She leaned back, studying him while he ate. "What do you mean?" Flynn asked between bites. "You're talented. I can see it. But you're stuck here, writing fluff pieces about visiting artists. Don't you want to see the world? Really see it?" "I travel for work sometimes." "That's not what I mean." Her eyes caught the candlelight. "I mean live, Flynn. Truly live. No constraints, no endings." He laughed, uncomfortable. "Sounds nice. Also sounds expensive. Not if you know the right people." She reached across the table, took his hand. Her skin was cool. "I leave Thursday night. Come with me." "What?" "My tour. Come with me. Write about it. Write about everything." Her thumb traced circles on his palm. "I think you'd be perfect." His heart hammered. This was insane. He had a job, an apartment, a life here. You didn't just leave with someone you'd known for 2 days. I can't. can't just... Don't answer now. She squeezed his hand once, then let go. Think about it. The club had no name. Just a door in a warehouse district Flynn didn't know existed. Vivienne led him down concrete stairs, into base so heavy it replaced his heartbeat. The space was packed, bodies moving in the strobing darkness. Vivienne pulled him onto the floor, her hands on his waist, her mouth close to his ear. "Let go," she said. "Just feel it." Someone handed him a drink. He drank it, then another. The lights fractured everything into snapshots. Arms raised, heads thrown back, mouths open. Vivienne pressed against him, moving like smoke. The music shifted, slower, hypnotic, trance maybe, something Eastern European he didn't recognize. In a strobe flash, he saw the woman dancing next to them. Her eyes caught the light wrong, reflected it back green and bright like an animal on a highway. He blinked, normal again. Another flash. A man across the floor, same thing. Eyes too bright, glowing for just that instant. Flynn's head swam. How much had he drunk? All around them, people watched, stared at him specifically. Vivienne kept him close, possessive, her body between him and everyone else. "Time to go," she said suddenly. The night air hit Flynn like a slap. His ears rang in the sudden quiet. "Come." Vivienne was already walking, heels clicking on pavement. "I want to show you something." They ended up on the roof of her hotel. 20 stories up, the city spread out below them in clusters of light. Vivienne walked to the edge and stepped up onto the low wall like it was nothing. "Jesus!" Flynn's stomach lurched. "Vivienne, get down!" She turned, balanced perfectly, arms spread wide. The wind caught her hair. "Do you ever think about it, Flynn? Living forever?" "You're going to fall." "Answer the question." She walked along the wall, one foot in front of the other. "Immortality. Would you want it?" I don't know. That's not... Can you please get down?" Most people say no. She stopped, looked down at the street far below. They say they'd get bored, that watching everyone they love die would be torture. She looked back at him, but they're wrong. They just lack imagination. What would you give up, Flynn? To never run out of time? To see everything, do everything, become everything you could be? Vivienne. She stepped off the wall, back onto solid roof, came to him, cupped his face in her cool hands. What if you could share a love for eternity? Would you give everything for that? He stared into her eyes, dark, impossibly dark, like looking into wells with no bottom. I'm really drunk, he said finally. She laughed, genuine this time. Yes, you are. She released him, stepped back. Come, let's get you home before you do something stupid. The cab ride was a blur. Flynn remembered her walking him to his door, remembered her kiss on his cheek. Cold lips, the faint smell of that metallic perfume. Tomorrow, she said, last day before the show, I'll call you. He stumbled inside, fell onto his bed fully clothed. This time, he dreamed. Dark auditoriums, glowing eyes, and Vivienne's voice singing something he couldn't quite remember when he woke. Day 3. Flynn's phone rang at sunset. He grabbed it without checking, head pounding. Did I wake you? Vivienne's voice amused. No? Maybe. What time is it? 7. I'm rehearsing until 10. Come after. I want to see you. Yeah, okay. Good. Flynn, eat something before you come. You'll need your strength. She hung up before he could ask what she meant. He showered, forced down toast and coffee his stomach didn't want. His editor had called 3 times. The interview was due tomorrow. Flynn had barely written a word. He pulled up his notes from that first night, read through the transcript, trying to find something usable. But all he could remember was the way she'd looked at him, the way she'd said his name. His phone buzzed, a text from a number he didn't recall. She's dangerous. Get away while you still can. Flynn stared at it. Wrong number? A prank? He typed back, Who is this? No response. At 10:15, he was back at the backstage entrance. Same security guard, same resigned look. She's waiting for you. Stage left. The venue was dark, except for a work light on stage. Vivienne sat in a chair, still in her costume. Something long and black that seemed to absorb the light around it. You came, she said. You asked me to. I did. She stood, moved toward him. Tomorrow night is the performance. After that, I leave. I know. Have you thought about what I asked you? About coming with me? Flynn's mouth went dry. The text message burned in his pocket. She's dangerous. Get away while you still can. I have a life here, he said, but it sounded weak, even to him. Do you? She was close now, close enough to touch. Or do you have a job you don't love, an apartment you can barely afford, and a future that looks exactly like today, forever? That's not. Her hand found his. I'm offering you everything, Flynn. She brought his hand to her lips, kissed his palm. The world, time, me. She pulled him closer. Her other hand slid to the back of his neck. Not yet, she whispered. After the show, when it's perfect. She released him, stepped back. Go home, Flynn. Rest. Tomorrow night, wear something nice. Sit in the front row. I'll have a ticket waiting for you. Vivienne, Don't decide now. Watch my song first. Then, tell me. She smiled, and in the dim light her teeth seemed very white. I promise you, after tomorrow night everything will be different. The guard was gone when Flynn left. The alley stretched dark and empty. His phone buzzed, the same unknown number. Last chance. Don't go to the show. Flynn deleted the text and walked home. Day 4. Flynn spent the day trying to write. He managed 3 paragraphs before deleting them all. His apartment felt too small, too quiet. Everything felt wrong, like he was waiting for something to start. At 6, he showered, put on the one good suit he owned, stared at himself in the mirror and barely knew the man looking back. Too pale, too thin, dark circles under his eyes from 3 nights of almost no sleep. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Hello? Open your door. A woman's voice, young, urgent. Flynn crossed to his apartment door, looked through the peephole. A girl stood in the hallway, maybe 25, dark hair, carrying a guitar case. She looked up at the peephole like she could see him through it. Please, she said. I know you don't know me, but I was at the club. I saw you with her. Flynn opened the door a crack, chain still on. Who are you? Maya. I play in the house band at that warehouse. She shifted the guitar case. I saw what happened. I saw them all looking at you, and I saw her pull you out before. She stopped. You need to listen to me. Don't go to the show tonight. How did you find my address? Your press credentials. Online. Look, that doesn't matter. She stepped closer. Vivienne Marchant. Do you know how long she's been in the art scene? I looked her up. There are posters, recordings, going back decades. She doesn't age, Flynn. Not at all. That's insane. Is it? Have you seen her eat? Ever? Have you seen her in daylight? Maya's eyes were desperate. And the eyes, Flynn. At the club, everyone's eyes but yours were glowing in the strobes. Every single person in that place, except you. Flynn felt cold. The lights were... I was drunk. I was stone sober, and I saw it clear as day. I've worked that club for 2 years, and I've never seen anything like it. She pulled out her phone, swiped frantically. Look, I recorded part of my set that night. She held up the screen. Dark, chaotic footage, strobing lights. But there, frame by frame, eyes catching the light. Green, gold, reflecting like animals, dozens of them. And in the center, Vivienne with her arms around someone. It was Flynn, his eyes normal, hers dark until the strobe hit, then blazing. What is this? Flynn's voice cracked. I don't know exactly, but I know it's not human. Maya grabbed his arm through the gap. Don't go tonight. Please, just leave town. Get as far away as you can. You're crazy. Am I? Then go ahead. Go to the show. She released him, stepped back. But if I'm right, you won't be coming back. Flynn stared at the video, his mind racing for explanations. Camera glitch? Lighting effect? Something. I have to go, he said. I'm going to be late. Flynn, thank you for your concern, but I don't know you. This is... He gestured at her phone. This is edited or something. I don't know what you want, but I want you to live. I'm fine. Vivienne is. She's just an artiste. You're seeing things that aren't there. He started closing the door. I need you to leave. Wait. Now, or I'm calling the police. Maya's face fell. She backed away, shaking her head. Okay. I tried. She turned, then looked back. When you understand I'm right, it'll be too late. I'm sorry. Flynn shut the door, threw the deadbolt. Stood there breathing hard. His hands were shaking. He looked at the time. 7:15. The show started at 8. He grabbed his keys and left, not looking back at Maya standing at the end of the hallway, watching him leave. Performance night. The Indigo was already packed when Flynn arrived. The ticket was waiting, like Vivienne promised. Front row, center seat. The atmosphere hummed with anticipation. Some of the faces in the crowd seemed familiar to Flynn from the dance club. Beautiful people, perfectly still, watching the stage with an intensity that felt wrong. The lights dimmed. Vivienne appeared in a single spotlight, that same black dress that drank the light. The audience went silent, not the normal hush, but something deeper, absolute. She began to sing. It was the same piece from rehearsal, but different now. Louder, richer, filling every corner of the space. Flynn felt it in his chest, his bones. The language was still unfamiliar, but the meaning was clear somehow. Longing, hunger, eternity. Her eyes found his in the darkness, held him. The song built and built, her voice climbing impossible heights. Around him, the audience sat motionless. Flynn couldn't look away from her, couldn't move. When the final note faded, the silence held for 3 heartbeats. Then, the audience erupted. People stood, shouting, applauding. Vivienne bowed once, smiled, and left the stage. When the show finally ended, Flynn sat frozen in his seat as the crowd began to file out. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Not Maya's. "Come backstage. It's time." Flynn's legs felt numb as he stood. The crowd flowed around him toward the exits, but he moved against the tide toward the dressing room. The guard wasn't there. The door stood open. Backstage was quieter than it should have been. No stagehands, no crew breaking down equipment. Just empty hallways lit by dim work lights. "Flynn?" Vivienne stood at the end of the corridor, still in her beautiful stage gown. Behind her, a door stood open. "You came," she said. "You asked me to." "I did." She didn't move closer. "Did you like it, Flynn?" "It was..." He couldn't find words. "Stunning. You were stunning." "Thank you." She tilted her head. "Have you decided? About coming with me?" The hallway felt too long, too narrow. Flynn took a step toward her, then another. "I don't understand what you're asking me," he said quietly. "Yes, you do." Her smile was sad. "You've known since the rooftop, maybe before. You just haven't wanted to see it." "Vivienne." "Come inside, Flynn. Let me show you what I'm offering." She turned and walked into the dressing room. Flynn followed. The dressing room was smaller than he expected. A mirror surrounded by lights. A velvet couch. Flowers from admirers wilting in vases. Vivienne stood by the mirror, watching him in the reflection. "Close the door," she said. Flynn did. His heart was racing. "4 days," she said. "That's all the time I had to decide, to see if you were right." "Right for what?" She turned to face him. "To keep." She crossed the room in 2 steps, faster than should have been possible. Her hands cupped his face, tilted his head back. "This will hurt," she said, "but only at first." "Vivienne." "What?" Her mouth found his throat. The pain was instant, white-hot, like twin railway spikes punching through his skin and scraping bone. Flynn tried to scream, but his voice shattered into nothing. His hands clawed at her shoulders, her arms, trying to push her away, but she was impossibly strong, immovable as stone. He felt it. The pull. His blood leaving his body in rhythmic draws that matched something outside himself, not his heartbeat, hers. She was drinking him, draining him, each swallow stealing his life. The realization hit with perfect, terrible clarity. Maya was right. The glowing eyes, the cold skin, never eating, only moving at night. All of it. Vampire. His legs gave out, but Vivienne held him up easily, cradled against her as she fed. The pain was fading now, replaced by cold. It started in his extremities, fingers and toes going numb, turning to ice, then crept inward like frost spreading across glass. His heart hammered frantically, trying to pump blood that was no longer there, beating faster and faster and finding nothing. Just empty vessels and desperate, failing organs. Each beat grew weaker, thinner. His body was cannibalizing itself. Flynn's vision grayed at the edges, the room narrowing to a tunnel. He could feel his pulse in his ears, erratic now, skipping beats, stumbling like a drunk. His body was shutting down, system by system, lungs burning for oxygen, brain starving for blood, kidneys and liver failing. He could feel each organ screaming and then going silent. He was dying. He understood that with perfect crystalline clarity, even as his thoughts began to fragment and scatter like autumn leaves. This was death. Real death. Not the clean, peaceful thing from films. This was his body betraying him, abandoning him, piece by piece. And he'd walked into it willingly, stupidly, because she'd smiled at him. His heart stuttered, stopped, started again, weaker, just a pathetic flutter. "Please," he tried to say, but no sound came. His throat was frozen. His heart gave one last weak spasm and stopped. Everything stopped. Darkness rushed in. Absolute, suffocating, eternal darkness. Flynn felt himself falling away from his body, felt the thread connecting him to life growing thinner, thinner, about to snap. Vivienne pulled back. Flynn collapsed, held only by her arms. He couldn't feel his body anymore, couldn't breathe. His consciousness was a spark in a void, guttering, about to go out. She lowered him to the floor, cradled his head in her lap. Through dimming vision, barely there now, just shadows and shapes, he saw her bite her own wrist. Blood welled up, dark and wrong. "Last chance, Flynn," she whispered. "You can slip away now. Peaceful. Done. Or..." She held her wrist above his mouth. A drop fell onto his lips. It burned like acid. "Drink and come with me, forever." His mind screamed at him, "Run, refuse, let go, die, clean." But his body, his dying, desperate animal body, responded on instinct. His mouth opened. His tongue caught the next drop. It tasted like copper and smoke and something ancient, something that had never been alive. "That's it," Vivienne murmured. "Just a little more." She pressed her wrist to his lips. Some distant part of Flynn's consciousness recoiled, horrified, but that part was drowning, fading. The rest of him, the part that wanted to live, that would do anything not to die alone on this floor, latched on and drank. The blood burned going down, burned like swallowing molten metal, searing his throat, his esophagus, filling his empty veins with liquid fire. And then the pain really began. Flynn's entire body seized, every muscle locking rigid, tendons pulling tight as piano wire. He couldn't scream, couldn't move, couldn't breathe. His spine arched, lifting him off the ground, bones creaking under the strain. Vivienne stroked his hair, tender now. I know it hurts." It was beyond hurt, beyond agony. This was his body tearing itself apart from the inside and rebuilding wrong. His blood, dead blood now, poisoned blood, began moving through his veins, not pushed by his heart, but pulled by something else, something hungry and foreign. His heart gave one massive, agonizing contraction, a violent spasm that felt like it would shatter his ribs from the inside, and then another, and another, trying to restart with blood that was poison and medicine at once, blood that burned like acid through every vessel. He screamed, the sound ripped out of him, raw and animal, and barely human. "That's it. Let it out." She held him as he convulsed, his limbs jerking, spine twisting, head slamming back against the floor. Your heart has to stop completely. Let it go, Flynn. Let the old life go. He couldn't breathe, didn't need to breathe. His lungs had stopped, but he was still conscious, still aware, caught between death and something else, something worse. The pain focused in his chest, his jaw, his bones. His teeth ached like they were being ripped out by the roots and replaced. His gums burned, tissue splitting and reforming. He felt his canines crack and extend, pushing down, sharp and wrong. His bones began to shift, not breaking, but changing density, restructuring, becoming harder, stronger, dead weight instead of living calcium. He could hear them creaking inside his flesh. His organs were shutting down, one by one. Stomach shriveling, intestines going dormant, liver failing, kidneys stopping. Everything human in him was dying, making room for something else. The worst was his heart. It convulsed again, squeezing, trying desperately to beat, to do its job, to keep him alive. But the blood was wrong. The body was wrong. And with one final agonizing spasm, it stopped. Just stopped. Silence inside his chest. No beat, no pulse, nothing. Flynn's eyes rolled back. His consciousness flickered, threatened to go out entirely. Almost there, Vivienne murmured, her voice distant, echoing. Almost done. His vision went black. Not the gradual fade from before. This was absolute, total darkness. For a moment, Flynn thought he was gone. Finally dead. Hunger. His eyes snapped open, and something else looked out through them. The room blazed with detail he'd never seen before. Every texture, every shadow had depth and clarity that hurt to process. The light bulbs around the mirror were like small suns. He could see dust motes hanging in the air, could count the threads in the velvet couch. And the smells. God, the smells. Perfume and sweat and flowers, and beneath it all, everywhere, the copper-sweet scent of blood. His heart lay silent in his chest. He pressed a hand to it, panicked, waiting for the beat that didn't come. "You don't need it anymore," Vivienne said. She was still cradling him, but now he could see her clearly, see the inhuman stillness of her, the way she didn't breathe, didn't blink unless she chose to. "Welcome back, Flynn. What did you—" His voice came out wrong, rougher. "What did you do to me?" "I told you. I chose to keep you." She smiled, and he saw her fangs properly for the first time. Long, sharp, beautiful. "We leave in an hour. The tour bus is waiting." Flynn tried to stand, made it halfway before his legs buckled. Everything was too much, too bright, too loud, too intense. "Easy." She caught him. "You need to feed first. You're starving." The word hit him like a physical blow. Hunger. Flynn shook his head, backing away from her even as his legs trembled. No, I'm not. I don't." "You're hungry, Flynn." Vivienne stood, graceful, patient. "You can feel it. Don't lie to yourself." He could. That hollowness, that emptiness. Except it wasn't empty. It was a void demanding to be filled. His throat ached. His new teeth, God, he had fangs now. He could feel them with his tongue, throbbed in his gums. "I'm fine," he said. I need air. There was a knock at the door. "Ms. Marchant?" A man's voice said, "The flowers you ordered." Vivienne's smile widened. She looked at Flynn. Perfect timing. No. Flynn pressed himself against the wall. No, I'm not. I wouldn't. You will. She crossed to the door, opened it. A young man stood there, maybe 19, holding an enormous bouquet. He smiled at Vivienne. These just arrived from... He saw Flynn, saw something in Flynn's face that made him step back. It's all right, Vivienne purred, taking the flowers, setting them aside. Come in, just for a moment. The man hesitated. Flynn wanted to scream at him to run, but he couldn't speak, couldn't move, because he could hear the man's heartbeat from across the room, could smell the warmth of his blood. And he was so hungry. I should go, the delivery man said, but Vivienne's hand was already on his wrist, pulling him gently inside. She closed the door. Flynn needs you, she said simply. I don't, Flynn gasped. His hands were shaking. I'm still human. I'm still me. Are you? Vivienne gestured at the mirror. Flynn turned, saw himself, saw nothing. The mirror reflected the room, the lights, the delivery man staring in confusion. But where Flynn stood, empty space, like he'd been erased from the world. His voice broke. No, that's not. You died, Flynn. Vivienne's voice was soft, almost kind. On this floor 4 minutes ago, your heart stopped. You stopped breathing. What's standing here now is something else. The delivery man tried the door. Locked. What the hell is going on? The sound of his racing pulse filled Flynn's ears like thunder. The smell of him, sweat and fear and blood so close to the surface, made Flynn's mouth flood with saliva. I won't, Flynn whispered. But he was moving forward. One step, another, his body acting without permission. Please, I won't. You will, Vivienne said. Because if you don't feed, you'll go mad, and then you'll kill him anyway, but messily, painfully. She touched Flynn's shoulder. I can teach you to be gentle, kind even. But first, you have to accept what you are. The man backed against the wall. Let me out, please. Flynn was standing in front of him now, close enough to see the vein pulsing in his neck. There was no thought, no decision, just hunger, and the need, and the overwhelming scent of blood so close. His hands grabbed the man's shoulders, slammed him back against the wall. The man screamed, but Flynn's mouth was already on his throat. The fangs sank in easily. They were made for this. Like his body had always known how. The first pull of blood hit his system like electricity. Hot and rich and alive in a way Vivienne's dead blood hadn't been. Flynn moaned against the man's neck, drinking deeper, faster. The hunger roared louder, demanding more. The man struggled, beat weakly at Flynn's shoulders, but Flynn was so much stronger now. He pinned him effortlessly, took and took and took. It tasted like everything, like life itself, pouring down his throat. His dead heart didn't beat, but something else surged through him. Power, vitality, the stolen warmth of another person's existence filling the cold void inside him. The man had gone limp, but his heart still fluttered, still had more to give. The heartbeat under Flynn's lips was slowing, growing fainter. Flynn, Vivienne's hand on his shoulder, firm. That's enough. Stop now. He couldn't stop, didn't want to stop. Flynn, You can drain him dry if you want, but his body stays here and the police find it in an hour. We need to leave clean." Her voice hardened. "Stop. Now." With a massive effort, Flynn wrenched himself away. He stumbled backward. His mouth was wet with blood. The man slid down the wall, unconscious, pale but breathing. Flynn looked at his hands, at the blood on them. "Oh God, what have I done?" "You fed." Vivienne stepped over the man without looking at him. "You survived. That's what you've done." "I attacked him. I'm a monster." "Yes." She said it simply, without judgment. "You are. We both are." She picked up a towel, handed it to him. "Clean yourself up. We leave in 30 minutes. I can't just leave him here. He'll wake up in an hour, with a headache and gaps in his memory. He'll assume he got drunk, hit his head. They always do. This is your life now, Flynn. Get used to it." Flynn wiped his mouth with shaking hands. The blood on the towel looked black in the dressing room light. He couldn't stop staring at the man on the floor, chest rising and falling, barely, a stranger whose name he didn't even know. "I had a life," Flynn said quietly. "A job, an apartment. People who had." Vivienne cut him off. "Past tense. That person died tonight." She pulled a phone from her bag, typed something. "The bus leaves at midnight. We'll be in another city by dawn. And if I don't get on the bus?" She looked at him then, really looked at him. "Then you stay here, alone, newly turned. No idea how to control yourself, no idea how to hide what you are." She tilted her head. "How long do you think you'll last before the hunger takes over again? Before you kill someone in public? Before they hunt you down?" Flynn's hands clenched. "You didn't give me a choice." "I gave you a choice. On this floor, when you were dying. You drank." Her voice softened slightly. "I know you're angry, confused, grieving who you were. But Flynn," she stepped closer, cupped his blood-stained face in her cool hands. "Come with me. I'll teach you everything. How to feed without killing. How to move through the world unseen. How to live for centuries instead of decades." She kissed him, tasting the blood still on his lips. "I didn't choose you randomly," she murmured against his mouth. "I've turned others. Most of them I left behind after a few years. But you, I think you might be different. Stay with me. See the world. We have eternity, Flynn. Imagine what we could do with it." A knock at the door made Flynn jump. "5 minutes, Ms. Marchant," a voice called. "Coming," Vivienne called back. She looked at Flynn, waiting. Flynn's gaze dropped to the unconscious man on the floor, then to his own hands, still stained with blood, then to the mirror where he didn't exist anymore. "What if I want to go back?" he whispered. "What if I change my mind?" "You can't go back. There is no back." She picked up her coat. "But you can leave me anytime you want. I won't stop you." She headed for the door, paused. "Coming?" The Sire. They stepped outside into the alley. The night air hit Flynn like a wall. Every scent, every sound, overwhelming. Vivienne's hand was on his arm, guiding him toward the street where a black bus idled. Maya stepped out from behind the dumpster. She had a crossbow. "Flynn, Get down." He didn't move fast enough. The bolt hit him in the shoulder, punched him backward against the brick wall. He screamed, the pain white-hot and wrong, the wood burning like acid where it pierced him. Vivienne spun, fangs bared, but Maya was already loading another bolt. "You took him," Maya said, voice shaking. "You took him." She fired. This one hit Vivienne in the chest, dead center. Vivienne staggered, looked down at the wood protruding from her sternum, and laughed, a wet, horrible sound. "You're too late, little hunter." No. Maya's hands were already reaching for something else. A wooden stake, thick and sharp. "Kill the sire before they feed. It breaks. I know the rules." She rushed forward, drove the stake into Vivienne's heart with both hands. Vivienne's eyes went wide. Her mouth opened in a soundless gasp. Then she crumbled, just collapsed into ash and cloth, and nothing. Maya spun to Flynn, hope blazing in her eyes. "You're okay. You're going to be okay. I got her before." But Flynn was still pinned to the wall, still very much a vampire. The hope died in Maya's face. "No," she whispered. "No, you didn't. When did you?" Flynn touched his mouth, still sticky with the delivery man's blood. Maya's hand tightened on the stake. "Flynn, I'm sorry," he said, and meant it. "So am I." She pulled the crossbow bolt from his shoulder, and he fell. She was on him before he could move, stake raised above his heart. Their eyes met. "Please," Flynn whispered, not sure what he was asking for. Life? Death? Forgiveness? Maya's hands shook. Tears streamed down her face. "I tried to save you," she said. "I know." She brought the stake down. Flynn's last thought wasn't of life, or death, or even Vivienne. It was relief.